Good morning. This morning we'd like to welcome our witnesses, especially our colleagues that either are with us or will be with us shortly. We'd like to thank the members of the public who are present. I noticed the presence of our friend and colleague from Massachusetts, Mr. Neal, who has an outstanding constituent who's going to testify on the second panel, as I understand it. It is a part of our law, and I think more importantly, a part of our national principles. If a person goes to apply for a job as a bank teller or a computer programmer or a bus driver, the employer can't say, you can't have this job because you're a Catholic. I won't hire you because you're Italian. Or we only hire men for this job, not men and women. Why should it be any different if the person applying for that job is a person who has faced discrimination based on gender identity or a person who has faced discrimination based upon sexual orientation? Why should it be any different? That's really the purpose of this hearing this morning. I think the answer is resoundingly, it should be no different at all. Whether you are Italian or Catholic or female or gay or lesbian has nothing to do with how well you will do the job. And whether you get the job and whether you are promoted and how you do in the job should depend upon your qualifications and your performance and your work ethic, none of those other extraneous, irrelevant factors. Now, the sad reality is that if you live in 31 states with respect to sexual orientation discrimination and 39 states with respect to gender identity discrimination, the law doesn't protect you. If you apply for that bank teller job and you are gay or lesbian, in 31 states the employer can say, I'm sorry, but we don't hire gay people, gay men or lesbian women to be bank tellers or computer programmers or bus drivers, and it's legal. I think it shouldn't be, and that's why I'm one of the co-sponsors of the bill that is before us today that our colleagues are going to speak about. Now, we'll hear arguments, I think, to the following effect. We'll hear arguments that no one is in favor of discrimination, and in my heart, I think that's true of my colleagues, almost all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. I think this is an institution where people do not want to practice or live discrimination. But no, the test is not our intentions, it's our results. And again, we have to start from the reality that in 31 states, for people faced with sexual orientation discrimination, there is no legal protection. In 39 states, for people faced with gender identity discrimination, there is no legal protection. Significant numbers of people report having experienced prejudice in the process of seeking a job or going after a promotion. The studies are compelling in this regard. And I think what's most important is the question of what this says about our country. Not what it says about the employer who is denying someone a job because of their sexual orientation or other irrelevant characteristic, or not even what it does to the person who feels the pain of that discrimination, terrible as that is. What does it say about our country? That we're a place that knows that this discrimination is going on but chooses to look the other way. It's not flattering. It's not what we want said about our country. Now, beyond the obvious moral issue, the dehumanizing effect of treating someone as a category rather than as a person, of saying to that person who wants to be a bank teller or bus driver or computer programmer that what matters is not how smart you are or how well you do this job, but whom you love and how you organize your family. Beyond the dehumanizing effect of that, there's another strong argument for the adoption of this bill. And it's the fact that in the global economic competition, this country cannot afford to leave any of its talented people out of the process of working. In a country that's in an increasingly acute global competition in virtually every industry, virtually every field, how can we afford to say that some of our best and brightest and most productive and industrious people will be left out because of whom they love and because of how they choose to organize their families. I think this bill is a moral imperative, but I think it's more than just a moral imperative. I think it's an economic necessity. I think a country like ours that's in this increasingly acute global competition cannot afford to shut the door on anybody who's ready and willing and talented and able to contribute to an enterprise or an institution or a profession or a business or to this country's economy. That's what I believe this is about. So we want to see the day come when you hand in your job application for a bank teller or a computer program or a bus driver, and the question is, how well can you drive the bus? How much do you know about the software you're going to program? Not who are you in terms of your personal and private life. There was a vigorous debate in this country just over 40 years ago about whether employers should be able to say to someone, we won't hire you because you're Catholic. We won't hire you because you're Italian. We won't hire you because you're female. And that debate ended, and a strong law was enacted in the middle of the 1960s. It is time that that law expanded its reach to other people whose characteristics have equally little to do with their ability to drive a bus or program a computer or work in a bank. It's time that that law reached out and humanized and included all people who are willing and able to work, and that is what this morning's hearing is about.